Damn it, just close your eyes already. Alright. But don't you think for a second that my guard is down. Leandros took a deep breath and closed one of his eyes. Aww. Okay. Hello, everybody. Wait, sorry. It's been so long I can't even remember. Welcome back, I should say. Any and everyone. This is Lynn and Otter here to do another episode of Kingsguard. I know it's been a long time, so let's just jump right into it. We're about to get in trouble. Oops. I forgot, yeah, I guess he's scared of loud noises. The two of you followed a crowd of people all headed towards an austere yet beautiful brick and glass building. It was the central station that allowed one to board the Iron Horse, a mechanized cart nicknamed as a train that traveled around the city and the source of the noise and smoke. It was created by inventors and scholars from Azite, a dependent city-nation of Yasan. When your father caught wind of such a marvel, plans went into effect of making space to have it implemented into the city. It took 10 years for it to be completed, but it was well worth the time, effort, and energy. The metal vehicle was truly an impressive machine that allowed one to visit all four corners of the city within an hour, but that wasn't all it was useful for. Information could be transferred across long distances within a fraction of the time, and it also aided in the trade of goods and services, helping grow many businesses. Because of the overwhelming popularity of the Iron Horse, plans were already being put into effect to create a nationwide line to connect all of the cities together. Yeah, look at that. What does that mean? This is like, what, the 20s? Where were trains invented? Because, I mean, interesting. It truly was a herald of a new era. The era of machines. It must have been, oh geez, the train sounded one last whistle, informing everyone in the vicinity that it had arrived. Aw, look at him, he's all scared. Yeah, it's gotta be interesting to live during that time period. I mean, it kind of feels like we're that way now with how technology is, but still. Leon froze in his steps, and his hand gripped down on your arm tight. Oh. Ouch! Leon! Wait, was I giving Linnaeus a Britishy, old-timey accent? I can't remember. Oh, sorry. I suppose I'm still a little agitated from earlier. Careful, you'll break my arm off. Right. Leandros loosened his grip and you rubbed at your sore arm, hamming it up just enough to hopefully make him feel guilty and possibly ease up on your punishment later. Well, well, let's go. I may be prince, but it's not going to wait for me. Oh, let's go. I may be prince, but it's not going to wait for me. You know, perhaps it might be best if we go back home. After, I wonder if you meant to be saying if we walk back home. You know, perhaps it might be best if we walk back home. After all, you could always use the exercise. After what happened today? Absolutely not. Maybe we could get a horse then? You like riding horses, right? Leon? Yeah, that sounds better than getting in the rusty thing anyway. Come on, Linnaeus, let's go. I think there should be a stable nearby. Despite how much of the populace had nothing but praise for the Iron Horse, there were always the naysayers and skeptics who refused to step foot on the machine or even acknowledge its achievements. Leandros was one of those people, always preferring to avoid taking the train as much as possible and choosing to walk or ride horses. But there was no way you were walking back and the horse ride was always bumpy. The train had soft seats and would get you home without you needing to lift a finger. Leon, you are free to walk or ride or a horse or whatever, but I'm too tired for that. I'm taking the train. Linnaeus, be reasonable now. You know, Leon, you don't have to be so afraid of it. What? Afraid? Don't be ridiculous. I just refuse to let you step foot aboard such an obvious death trap. Death trap? What? Never mind. Look, the line is already moving, so the train's boarding now. If we don't hurry, we're going to miss it. Now, are you coming or not? All right. This time you took the lead, guiding Leandros towards the queue of individuals all waiting to board the Iron Horse. There was a menagerie of citizens all lined up at this time of day, mostly workers who were finished with their jobs, but you did spot a few nobles heading home after a luxurious day of shopping. While the line moved on, a duo of exhausted workers complained to one another, and you felt your ears stretch a little in their direction. It wasn't eavesdropping, but it was a bit hard to ignore them. I swear, it's the same shite. Can I say that? I mean, whatever. Day in and day out. We get on the train in the morning, work for that bastard for barely any coin, then hop back on the train to head home to our nagging wives. You know, 9 to 5 grind. Never changes. Nothing ever changes. What's a man got to do to catch a break? Oh, it ain't all that bad. At least you and the missus ain't starving anymore. You hear about Danny? Oh, things got so bad for him, he had to resort to stealing. Oh, that idiot spent all his coin on booze. He dug himself his own grave, and now he's digging in the mines in Renero. I ain't asking for much, just a little change is all. A little excitement in my life, you know? So damn strung up all the time, working these long hours. And even then, when I get home, the damn missus doesn't want to do anything except go to bed. Is she taking care of the kids or something, maybe? I don't know. We said we'd get rich, live up in the Pearl, and have 1,000 servants. Aw. Wow, when we were younger, there wouldn't be any alley we did. Oh, jeez. You know, I think I got just the thing you need. Oh, jeez, what's about to happen here? Yeah? And what's that? I got it right here. Why don't you take a look over there? You followed the man's gaze over towards a gaudy-looking establishment where several scantily dressed men and women awaited out front. They waved and ushered pedestrians into their establishment with enticing stares and honeyed words. Oh, that floozy house. It ain't like the others you've heard of. Oh, I've heard of it, all right. They got beasts going there, too. Yeah, and? It ain't like you gotta sleep with him. Got plenty of nice supple-titted women just begging for a man. They'll do almost anything you ask for. Ha! The missus will kill me if she caught me in there. Yeah, exactly, so don't. Well, as far as she knows, you're still at work. Boss can be so demanding, you know. Keep you late. What? I thought this guy was gonna be a sensible friend. No. Or maybe the train stopped running and you had to walk your way back, if you catch my drift. Think about it now, my favorite goddess might be there today. You can't be serious. The worker smirked and then started off into the direction of the building, and a woman took him by the arm. He turned back and waved before heading inside. Damn bastard gonna get me beat for this. But what the hell? Got paid a little extra and I need a little something to take this stress away. No! Intervene, Linnaeus! The other man sauntered on forth, leaving a gap in the line as he was greeted by another woman who also took him inside. Lucky? What? Linnaeus! No! That is the exact opposite of what you're supposed to say. No. Huh? No. What? You know what? That? I wasn't going to. The lion caught you staring over at the bordello where the two men had just entered. Two new scantily dressed greeters, males this time, came forth from the building and began to attract new customers with their exotic dances. The establishment was named Rose's Cathedral, a place of desire that made true all manner of pleasurable fantasies. It was one of the few brothels in the city that catered to men or beastmen of any race or color. If I had a silver for every time you said that. You're mistaken. I was just... Alright, so I was looking. You caught me. But it wasn't like I was going to go in there. And I wish you would never go in there. You have a reputation to uphold, after all. To who? Not like anyone in the kingdom knows who I am anyway. To the other nobles. Let them think what they want. Not like they can do anything about it. Father pretty much keeps them at bay. It's not just that, you know. I plan to keep my promise to my last breath, but that won't protect you if someone else sees you and begins to spread rumors. You're going to be a king soon, and you'll be needing a queen. All of this fooling around will need to stop eventually. It had been so long that you nearly forgot the promise Leandros made to you, of a secret that you never even told your father for fear of his reaction. It all started on a cold winter's day some several years ago. As per knightly tradition, and in quite a rebellious stage in your life, you quickly snuck out of the castle to make a visit to Rose's cathedral. You gave your coin, and a handsome, broad-chested, brown-haired man guided you to a room for what should have been a pleasurable evening of intense passion. As it turned out, you weren't so sneaky as Leandros shadowed you all the way to the establishment and walked right in on you and your lusty chauffeur. Oh, that's embarrassing. It's like your mom or something. You would never forget the look of disbelief on his face as he stood in the doorway, unable to even speak. Needless to say, you were in as much shock as he was, and couldn't find the drive to continue, despite your seducer's advances to ignore the intruder. Oh man. When Leandros finally regained composure, he walked back out the door, head low as though he were ashamed to see such a thing. You thought he returned back to the castle to tell your father what he had seen. But when you redressed and stepped outside, there he was, arms crossed, stoic-faced like your father, and ready to take you home without a word. From that day forward, you dreaded every waking hour, wondering when he was going to bring it up. It wasn't until days later, at the end of a sword training session with him, that he decided to break the ice. You wanted to shrivel up like a slug in the summer. This was the truth that you had hoped to keep secret till your grave, and now one of the worst people possible knew. But your worries, your concerns, your fears, they were for naught. He didn't chastise you or tell you that you weren't right in the head, but rather he consoled you and tried to understand. He didn't care who you were attracted to. He just wanted to know why it was that you felt the need to hide it. You burst into tears, crying more than enough to fill the ocean twice over. Aw. It was the most memorable heart-to-heart you've ever had with him, and from that day forward, he made a promise to keep it to himself. Especially with what would happen if some of the nobles found out. Not all of them were honorable, and with such gossip they could gain so much hanging it over your head. You doubt even your father could do anything to stop them. It's not easy being a prince, I know that. But you have to understand that there are consequences to your actions. Oh, all right, I got it already. I'm not allowed to ever have fun and must remain in the dusty old castle for the end of my days. Then when I'm old, grouchy, and miserable and on my deathbed, I'll finally be set free, just like Father wants. That's not what he... Forget it. We'll talk more about this later. Regardless how many times Leandros warned you of someone finding out, you still never learned your lesson, and went right back to sneaking out of the castle at night. Of course, now that damned lion knew where you had snuck off to. It wouldn't be long before he burst in on you in the middle of your fun, then proceed to stand there waiting until you got dressed and left with him. It was so embarrassing to have to be dragged out like a child. Even the patrons and workers started to give you a nickname, the Princess, due to how often the hero would come to save you. Little did they know how close of a mark that nickname was to you. Your father's overbearing nature made sure that the citizens knew not who you were. Well, other than a select few nobles and knights. They probably thought you were nothing more than a young noble with plenty of coin to spend and an overactive libido rather than a prince in line to be king. Of course, you did cut it close a few times, when Leandros nearly made a slip of the tongue of who you were when he would pick you up. One of the guys out front waved at you, and you waved back with a giddy little smile. Oh, for the love of... Go! Wait, what? Go? Oh, I wasn't sure if that was part of the flashback. Leandros grabbed you by the hand again, and you were whisked away onto the train. Your last sight was on them giggling, likely thinking of you once again being saved by your... Or is this part of the flashback? Being saved by your hero. Oh, train. Finally, a place to rest my feet. You plopped down onto the comfy seat and stretched your legs out, taking up the entire space, just man spreading all over the... I'm kidding. Being in the first class compartment was the greatest of luxuries. You had spacious and comfy seats, priority when entering and exiting the train, and best of all, you had the space to yourself. There was only one time that you had consciously made the decision to immerse with the common folk, as you called it, and sat in the third-class carriages. The seats were made of wood that made your back and butt ache worse than the day on the saddle. Kids screamed and cried in your ear, and some drunk fellow smelling heavily of piss and alcohol nearly fell asleep on you. Economy class flying. After that, you made sure to never make that mistake again. I mean, yeah, if you can afford to do it, enjoy it. I don't think that's a big problem. Leandros was slow to ease himself into the cabin. He was already a pretty big man, and with his armor on, it only made his entry more difficult. He cracked open the window to let in some fresh air before he sat down. Even though the train wasn't moving, he still sat stiffly with his arms crossed and feet tapping impatiently. It was impossible to ignore how much noise he was making. Yet he always got this way whenever you took the train. Hey, Leanne... Huh? Oh, Linnaeus. Don't scare me like that. Scare you? I was just trying to... Look, if you really aren't feeling up for the train, we can leave. No, I'm fine. Really? We still have time before it departs. Forget it. We're already here. Just hold on to something secure. Aww. Once the train began to move, his nails pierced into the plush cushions, while his fur bristled like a porcupine. Linnaeus, are you holding on tight? Holding on to what? We're not going that fast. It's just a precaution. You never know what may happen. This is adorable. Nothing is going to happen. We've ridden this how many times now? I don't trust this thing. Several dozen injured and 10 killed when this thing crashed in Renero. That was years ago. And besides, it was an accident when the driver stopped the train too suddenly while traveling at full speed. As the iron horse picked up momentum, Leandros only tensed even further. For a lion, don't you think you're being a bit cowardly? What about all those times you had to fight against multiple bandits, all by yourself? I'm not fighting bandits. I'm riding in the belly of a 5,000-pound monster made of steel and wood, hurling us at God knows what speed. He scooted himself closer to the window and let the wind whip through his mane. Did he let his tongue out too? Things were never going to change with him, and soon his incessant feet tapping was accompanied by an even more annoying drumming of his nails across the windowsill. Oh, that guy's really anxious. You weren't certain how much more you could take. Oh, there had to be some way to get him to calm down, or to get over his fear of trains. We're going to be given a choice? Oh no! Oh jeez. Think. Okay, you know what? Linnaeus is a prankster. He probably would scare him if this was just a regular day, but we are trying to stay in his good graces because we don't want him to give us a really harsh punishment when we get home. So, and I mean, I would reassure him, come on. Why would you scare him? I mean, I can see why, it might be funny, but... Oh, no, I won't let this be a... Hold on. I won't make this be a continued. I'll choose this now. Let's see. Or maybe I should. Maybe I should let you guys decide what I choose to do. Maybe it does have something to do with the direction of the story. Because I mean, truth be told, I'm kind of warming up to Leandros. I had gone into this kind of thinking I was gonna see what I could do to pursue what do you call it? His name was only mentioned in the first episode. Ramos, the rhino guy. But honestly, I'm really enjoying spending all this time with Leandros. He's really cool. So I don't know which choices might affect the story depending on what you guys might want to see. But let's just kind of go for this. No, let's just do this on my own for the first round. Obviously, if there's a different path you guys want me to see or play through, then you can guide me on what choices I should make. But I'm just gonna just play this by ear for the first time. All right, and I'm going to reassure him, cause I'm trying to be clever and just stay in his good graces. You needed to get his attention away from the fact that he was riding the train, and have him focus on something else. He was a busy man, something always on his mind, but whenever he got on the train, he could only think about his survival. Like this would be his final resting place. Hey, if you keep staring out the window like that, you're only going to get even more nervous. I'm not nervous. Then why do you look so tense? You look so tense. Why don't you let me rub your shoulders? You're crouching like you're set to jump out the window at a moment's notice. I'm fine. Then perhaps you might want to ease up on the cushions. You're about ready to rip the stuffing out of them. Leandros looked down and retracted his nails. The fabric looked a tad bit stretched, and there were a few pieces of loose stitching sticking out, but nothing too bad. Why don't you try closing your eyes? Not going to happen. Not on this hellbound metal wagon. You leaned forward and put your hand on Leandros' shaking paw, causing him to nearly leap out of his seat again. Just take a deep breath and close your eyes. You'll feel better. Mother always told me to do this whenever I was scared. Perhaps it might work for you? I'm not in the mood to be consoled by you right now. It's either that or you can just suffer the rest of the way. You better not be thinking about running away from me again. I feel like I'm losing my... It's hard to do Leandros' voice. And go where? Out the window? Is that what he said? Yeah, out the window. I've seen you do dangerous... I've seen you do dangerous things before, like jumping down those stairs. You could have been seriously injured, you know. Damn it, just close your eyes already. Alright. But don't you think for a second that my guard is down. Leandros took a deep breath and closed one of his eyes. Aww. Both of them? He had every right to be skeptical, but still it was a bit irritating that he didn't trust you on this. I'm not going to do anything, okay? Aww. He slowly closed his other eye and his face tensed. His ears swiveled left to right, gathering information and preparing him for what may happen. You could tell that he was ready to leap at a moment's notice. He really was a mess. He felt like a parent consoling a child, and eventually his face softened. I was actually getting kind of nervous. I was like, oh man, it's going to be like a... Huh? We're here. Leandro stared out the window, almost in disbelief, and lo and behold, the train was pulling into the station. So we are. And see, nothing happened. Yeah. For a second, Leandros moved his lips as though to say something, but instead, he sealed his lips and stood. All right, time to go. The nobles and your father are waiting. It seemed as though he wouldn't let your act of kindness sway him from his task at hand. He was still hell-bent on taking you back to the castle so that you would attend your own party that you would have been dreading all day. At the very least, you could tell that he might be more lenient on your punishment for leaving the castle and getting into so much trouble. Finally, to be on solid ground, unmoving ground. But anyway, this is the part where I finally decided to call it. We got through the train ride. I wanted to thank you guys for watching and, sticking around with all these hiatuses. Like I said, really working through finding a more consistent schedule. But if you're still enjoying the episodes, I appreciate it. All the liking, subscribing, the comments, they mean a whole lot. I really enjoy reading them and seeing them. But again, thank you guys for tuning in. There's going to be some more episodes from some other visual novels. Some have some updates. And yeah, we'll see you soon. Thanks again, guys. Take care. Bye now.